How you doing, everyone? You know what time it is. It's time for a metal update. It's time for a shit I wasted my money on this week. It's time to join me to talk about metal. Once again, collection update. Really enjoyed my last video. I seemed like I got a lot of positive response out of that. So I appreciate all of that. I had a lot of time, a lot of fun making it. Felt it came out really well, and I feel like I'm kind of on a high plateau here. Maybe even halfway up a mountain. We could get even better or so. I was kind of in a slump there for a while with something with my videos, just feeling like whatever, uninspired. But I really felt like I put a lot of thought and effort into that video, and I thought it worked out well. So I appreciate the reciprocated appreciation that you guys offered me. So I've got a shit ton of stuff in, so let's just jump into it, I guess. While we're talking, how about we listen to the GALT, Even As All Before Us. This came out on Flood the Earth Records, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. John Gossard of a lot of bands, most famously, I guess, Weakling, and his awesome band Dispirit, who I wish would release something other than a cassette. So that's the GALT. Kind of sounds like, sometimes I think it sounds like Jefferson Airplane, earlier stuff. Sometimes it kind of melds into wishy-washy, sort of heady Weakling stuff. A little bit more on the indie rock side of things. Sometimes I think it sounds quite a bit like In the Woods. So that's the GALT. I chose that one because I've gotten something like 3 messages in the last month or so of someone asking and offering me money to rip a copy of that and send them the digital files for it. And I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't want any part in that, so whatever. Okay. Got a bunch of CDs, tape, LPs. Let's go. First LP I'm going to show you is Taurus. The album is called Nothing, No / Thing. I don't have any text to show you to explain how the title is kind of weird. Here we go. No / Thing. More importantly, what this is a project featuring Stevie Floyd of Dark Castle, also famously Jeff Whitehead's wife, and they have a lovely daughter, and I think that's really awesome to see 2 metal people together making a little family in a record store now. Anyways, this is a great record. Stevie did this project post Dark Castle with Ashley Spungen. I don't know what else she has done, but I know her from Aesop Decker and his stuff. Anyways, this is a killer LP. It's really hypnotic. Has a lot of kind of stonery doom sort of elements to it. But as you know, that's not even close to my favorite genre, so it's better be good for me to buy it on LP. But it is a beautiful purple splattered vinyl there. Like I said, really hypnotic, repetitive, super heady. I just thought it was really great how dissonant and just morose it wound up sounding. Has some backup vocals from Rest of Leviathan, if that gets your goat. Highly recommend checking this out for something a little bit off the wall. I wound up picking this up from Eroding Winds on Discogs for $8 mere, I want to say. That's less than a pizza. Where am I going to put this? Shit. Let's see. Let's go with the CD. Don't want to water it down too much. Wolves in the Throne Room. Thrice Woven. This is their return to form. It's glad to have this band back in action. I didn't really have a chance to listen to this album in its entirety whatsoever. I'm probably 3/4 of the way through it or so. And I realized, I haven't even really listened to Celestial Lineage or given it that much of my attention. So for me to just jump all over this all of a sudden and act like, oh, thank God, I've been dying for years for you to put out a new album that wasn't an ambient album, just made me think, God, I didn't even listen to Celestial Lineage all that much. Not to say there's anything wrong with it or it's bad or anything. It's just like, when I want Wolves in the Throne Room, I want Two Hunters or Diadem of 12 Stars. Those albums are monumental in my opinion, and this is really one of the greatest black metal bands of the last 10, 15 years or so. Great guys, love to support them. I pre-ordered the shit out of this when I saw it. The artwork is fucking great on this digipack. I think it just reminded me how much bands take this for granted and they don't bother putting great artwork in their booklets anymore sometimes. So it was just wonderful to see beautiful photography interwoven with historical sort of imagery and whatnot. I listened to the record and it sounded pretty much exactly what I was expecting. There were a few moments where there seemed to be some kind of like retro thrash kind of stuff going on, some kind of like skank beat, chunky riffing going on, and that like really soured my taste on it. But I don't know, not really saying anything conclusive about it, but it is nice to have one of your favorite bands be back on the map, making records again, feeling like, you know, they're back in action. Another CD here. Let's see. I also picked up the new one from Darkenhold. This album is Memoria Sylvari. Haven't really had a chance to listen to this one very much. Listened to a couple of tracks. It's very, very reminiscent of 90s black metal. In fact, this band pretty much exists to pay tribute to the 90s black metal, which is one of my favorite genres of music. Of course, since it came from France, all the teeth were busted out like every fucking CD I order from Europe these days. The reason I haven't listened to either of those very much, even though they're great albums, is I've been in fucking death metal mode straight up. I know if you've been watching my channel, you know that. Been just listening to nothing but death metal, and it's just fucking doing it for me like it never has. I'm picking up albums furiously that have been out for numbers and numbers of years, and I just never really got around to buying them. So it's been super fun listening to and buying CD copies of albums that I could have been listening to for years and years. And it's like just having them devastate me for the first time all over again, in a way. I'm not sure how to articulate that very well. This video will probably end up being pretty long. I might even do this in 2 parts because we got a lot of shit to cover here. But yeah, I just don't want to be brief about any of this stuff if I feel the notion. I also put in an order with Dark Descent Records. Picked up a new shirt. Decided to celebrate my losing 30 pounds in the last few months at my new job by buying me a nice, sexy little 2XXL shirt. So Blood Incantation adorns my heavenly bod. Also, the reason I chose to go with Dark Descent, I think, is because I had been hemming and hawing about a copy of Merciless's The Awakening. As this album famously was originally released on Death Like Silence. I want to say it was the very first Death Like Silence album ever released, so I'm sure as shit not ever going to find a copy of that on the cheap. But I was really trying to find a reissue of this album that didn't have revised artwork, which is a topic I keep finding myself revisiting on the channel. But I went ahead and decided this is somewhat of a worthy replacement for an original copy. Osmos put this out in 1999, and for some reason, Dark Descent had a sealed copy of this for $11 fucking dollars. Dark Descent, you are fucking awesome. Anyways, this album fucking shreds. I had maybe listened to it and it just didn't hit its mark many, many, many years ago. Who knows why? I'm seeing these guys live next month in Chicago, and actually this month now that it's October 1st. Can't wait to see these guys live with Aura fucking Noir in Chicago. If you're there, hit me up, say hi, yada yada yada. Anyways, this album fucking crushes. One of those just perfect albums that borders from when thrash metal got too fast and bestial for its own good and kind of became death metal in a way. Just right in that sweet spot where thrash became death metal. So this is the Osmos version. And you can tell it's an Osmos release because they misspelled the fucking band name on the spine. Osmos, you do a great job of existing in a world where spell check does not fucking I never understand that. You always know you've got an Osmos album on your hands if the track list is out of order, or the band name is misspelled, or the album is misspelled. Anyways, that's Merciless. If you haven't heard this, fucking stop this video right now and listen to The Awakening by Merciless. It's fucking great. Swedish death metal of the highest order. Speaking of Swedish death metal, Autumno, Across the Horizon. This fucking rules, man. So my buddy Marty Worm told me I should pick this up. And I had always remembered, you know, back in the day when I was checking out old school death metal, when it was kind of cool for the first time back in 2005, 6, 7, somewhere around there or whatever. And I just kind of glossed over it, thought, yeah, it's crunchy and chunky, whatever. Didn't really stand out for me, and I don't know why. This has all the trappings of a fucking standout classic Swedish death metal record. I think one reason it kind of is an oddball, standout kind of weirdo is that it doesn't really embrace the melodicism that a lot of those bands like your Carnages and your At the Gates and whatever's do. This has a lot of really strange, kind of skronky, almost more on the Nocturnus side of things, where they're just doing these breakneck, strange, awkward, quirky sort of rhythms and patterns. And it just isn't like a complete headbang fest all the way through it. Utilizing a lot of weird tempos and stuff like that. I really liked it. The album cover by Necrolord. It was recorded in Sunlight Studios. This is just has everything you would ever want out of a great album. And also, this is a reissue containing their first 7-inch, The Light of Day, and the only album that they wound up recording. This band had members of God Macabre and I'm not able to pull up in my head something else, but Cyanide Syndicate, which I think is a subsidiary of Vic Records, reissued this in 2010. I think this is also, I think, $11 from Dark Descent. Pick this fucking thing up. It rages. It's a lot better than most death metal that's happening these days. But on the topic of today's death metal, I had to pick up the new one from Excommunion, a band I never thought I would hear another album out of. These guys put out a great, fucking awesome record pre-Nightbringer in 2002, and the album was called Superion. Check that out if you can find it. It's fucking amazing. It's got a great cover of God of Emptiness by Morbid Angel on it. But again, I never thought I would hear anything else out of this band. It was just pre-Nightbringer, and then once Nightbringer really started to take its form and catch steam, I never thought they would turn back to death metal, but they have. I only popped this in today for a minute. In fact, I sat sealed for quite a while in my for the week. I worked 12 hours overtime this week, so I didn't have a lot of time to listen to the stuff that I got in, so I got a lot of stuff to listen to while my girlfriend is in Barcelona for a while. So that's Excommunion. I don't really have a comment on this album in particular. I'm sure it's fucking amazing, flawless, speedy death metal. One thing I wanted to I forgot to show you in Autumno is look at the most 90s band photo you will ever see a metal band sport. It looks like what happened was guy in stripy shirt for the second photo decided to take off stripy shirt and show off his Madonna shirt. So that's pretty great. Next, I got to talk about a sore topic. All right, so a lot of the things I talk about on my channel are how I have a hard time finding this or this for this price or from this distro, yada, yada, yada. And things like the Metal Detector and Discogs are such great resources because I have a hard time finding exactly what I want for exactly the price I want, and yada, yada, yada. That being said, however, it's important to maybe impart to you the fact that I am not always good or savvy at buying things on the internet. Sometimes I'm on my phone in the middle of doing something, buying a fucking CD when I should be paying attention to something. And this one really, really fucked me this week. So I had been trying to find a copy of Saturnus's Martyr for a couple of months. I put it on. I think I listened to it on YouTube a couple of months ago or something. It just like came up and I was like, hey, okay, I'll listen to it. And it pretty much blew me away. And I was like, I gotta get a copy of that. And I was really surprised to find that copies of it were hard to come by. And hard to come by for under like €20 or somewhere around there. So I put it on my Discogs wish list. It popped up every once in a while, and it just wasn't really the price I was wanting to pay for it. I didn't really super love the album, but I kind of want to have a copy of it. So I was hoping to maybe pay, I don't know, $15 or something for it after shipping or whatever. But lately what I've been doing is just like, I'm sick of seeing stuff in my Discogs wish list, so I buy it or I remove it. So I did remove it the other day because I found it on Amazon for like $15, and it was Prime, so I thought, why not? I have Amazon Prime, free shipping. But what I didn't realize when I got it, what I was actually buying. And I want to share this with you so that you're aware, in case you are an Amazon Prime or not, if you ever buy from Amazon, you're aware that they're doing this. This is really fucked up in my opinion. So this is a generic CDR version of Saturnus's Martyr. Now, I'm not even going to really talk about the album whatsoever. Mostly just the fact that this is a fucking stupid CDR piece of shit that I paid $15 for from Amazon. So what they're doing is they're offering this new service where you order a CD and they burn you a copy of it with generic fucking artwork, nothing but the album cover, song titles, and a fucking stupid generic CDR. This is fucking garbage. All of the integrity, all the art is just stripped completely from this fucking album, and you get this stupid piece of shit. This is for fucking grandmas who want to order Paul Simon albums with their Amazon fucking Prime account. This is not for music collectors, and this is fucking garbage. So, end of that, I guess. I went into my Amazon thing. I said I want my fucking money back because the thing was broken or whatever. I just made up a fucking reason. And the default setting, I guess I didn't see this happen right away or whatever. The default reaction that Amazon takes is to send you a replacement of this fucking thing once you say that you're going to return it, which I didn't expect. I thought they would just give me my money back after I sent in the packing list. I don't know why they sent a replacement so soon, and I didn't see anywhere that they said that they were going to do that, and I definitely selected the option to have my money refunded once they received it. So I didn't expect them to send me another fucking copy of the thing 2 days later. Ugh! So anyways, oh, that's so fucking maddening. So a day later, a copy of it shows up on Discogs for €8. So I bought it. So I bought 3 copies of this album in one fucking week, basically. Well, I guess I only paid for one of these 2. But now I have to print off another fucking RA for it and send it back with the other one, and ugh, it's irritated. Anyways, back to metal.